Hello YouTubers, Bud Light here, bringing a little bit of light into this financial world of darkness. Hey, I'm here today with Rhesa Funk. This is going to be a three-part video, and we're going to talk about Airbnbs. I've had some people in the comments ask and talk about Airbnbs. Clayton Smith, if you're watching, a shout out to you and Clayton's channel. He has an Airbnb up in Vancouver, Canada. So Rhesa, kind of tell us what you're kind of a professional Airbnb consultant, doer, whatever it may be. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So if I'm wanting to kind of get started in Airbnbs, well, let me back up. So Rhesa here you had how many Airbnbs over in Missouri?
4.
She had 4 Airbnbs. You
Five.
were
Five.
5, and you were rated one of the top in the state or nation?
And we were right at the top in the state in our area, in our area that we were. And then by the time we got out of our Airbnbs in Missouri, we were in the top 10% of all Airbnbs in the world.
Wow. So she kind of knows what she's talking about, people. But you sold out right at the top of the market. She hit the market at the very top, sold those all. That morphed into another business, and you sold because you were moving.
Right.
And she's moved here to Oklahoma. And video 2 is going to be about the second business with Airbnb. But for this video, we're going to talk about how to start an Airbnb, what you should look for, and just to pick her brain to find out, hey, because there's a lot of people out there that are thinking about doing it. And do you think this is a great time and idea to do Airbnbs right now?
I do. A lot of people say that because the economy has slumped, that people aren't going on vacation as much as they used to. But actually, the numbers don't play out for Airbnb, VRBO, any of the vacation rental platforms, Glamping Hub, Booking.com, Expedia.com, all of those are showing great increase. And it's because people are choosing they would rather stay in a home or a cabin or a specialty unit just for the experience rather than staying in a hotel room.
Okay. So because we see the economy starting to slump and all these prices coming off, it hasn't really affected because people use their disposable income to go on vacations and stuff like that. Are you
actually, that's not exactly true.
Okay.
A huge amount of Airbnb rentals are done for business because companies have found that if they lodge their employees in a place that is more like home, where they can do the things that they do at home, they work better, they perform better. And so a lot of Airbnbs are rented, or just any type of short-term rental are rented to people that are working in a certain area for business. We live here in a little bitty tiny town in Oklahoma, 250 people population. There's one Airbnb not owned by us in our town, and she has been rented almost solid for the last 4 months just because of people doing business in this area.
Okay, well, there's something I did not know, people. So far as the way the economy's going right now, it doesn't seem to have a major effect in the Airbnb market. So Rhesa, what is, if I want to get started in Airbnb, what's the very first thing that I do?
The first thing you'd want to look at is to see if you have anything that you already own. That is how we got started. We bought when we moved to Missouri, we needed a place for our family and friends to stay when they came and visited us there. And there was a shed, a very junky shed for sale by one of our local churches, and we purchased that and turned it into a very small cabin. This is before Airbnb was even invented in California by the 2 guys that started it. A few years later, a lot of people said, oh, you should try to rent that, and we didn't think it was a good idea, but then we checked into it, and we had the shed, which we'll talk more about later, how to convert what you have. That's why we're sitting here in front of an old camper. Taking what you have and making money, and we turned it into a side hustle that made us a lot of income, If you wanted to get into it now, the first thing I would say, look at what you have. Airbnb, you can do a room in your house. All the others require a structure separate from where you live, but there are any number of things. We're working with some people in the Smoky Mountains right now. All of what they have is a portico, and we're going to put a glamping tent under that and be able to rent that out as a glamping situation. You can use anything as we did. We used a shed, we used a camper, And we bought the camper for $1,500, and before we left, we'd made $100,000 off of that $1,500 camper.
Wow. Hey, I'm going to back up real quick. You said you could do a room in your house with Airbnb, but not the, what do you mean by not the others?
All of the other short-term rental platforms, VRBO, Booking.com, Expedia,
Okay.
they require that you rent out your entire house. But with Airbnb, you can do a room.
Oh, okay. So I can convert my bedroom into have somebody come and stay.
That's absolutely right.
All
The
right.
key is to niche yourself where you're not like everyone else. That's the number one key. That's the thing that we found, and Bud and I'll be talking about that in this video as to how to make your Airbnb not be just another brown couch in a living room with a cute bedroom off the side.
Okay.
And if you pull up the pictures, that's what you're
All
going to
right.
see.
So she mentioned, if you see in the background right here, folks, we have an old camper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, an old camper. Mm-hmm. And this is what they started out with. She bought for $1,500. They turned it into $100,000 over time. So we're going to show you. Here's the picture of it beforehand. And here it comes. All right. And then here's the picture of it once it was done, called the Happy Camper. Here it is. So you can see by that picture.
And we also want to show the picture of the shed before we had Cabin on the Creek. So here's a picture of the shed.
Yep, here's the picture of the shed.
And here's the picture of what the shed became.
All right.
We also have a third one.
Oh.
Big Purple. Big Purple was one of our most successful rentals. It was located in the worst location in our tiny town in Missouri, about 250 population. Had the worst location next door to a church. The turnaround area for a gas station. The train went by the side, and not so great neighbors. And theming that for a purple, which we're going to talk about, themed Airbnbs, themed vacation rentals. Here's what it looked like when we bought it, folks.
Wow.
And here's what it looked like when we got finished.
That's pretty. All right. Well, cool. So that's so now you've seen some before and after pictures, and of course we don't edit here, so we're kind of doing this on the fly. But that she kind of knows what she's talking about when it comes to these Airbnbs. Because what would you say that, just maybe you already know the number, but overall on those just those 3 Airbnbs that you made, how much profit did you make over time on those?
Well, in the first year, when we decided to go ahead and put our cabin by the creek, which was a shed that we bought from the church and converted to a tiny house, when we decided to put that on Airbnb, we only had it for 4 months. Our total expenditure purchasing the shed and converting it to a cabin was $9,800. And the very first summer that we put it on, which we're going back to 2016 at this point, in 2016, in 4 months, we had sales of, I have the exact number, $7,900. Those were our sales for those 4 months. By the end of the first 18 months, we had more than recouped the money that we had spent converting the shed into a cabin, and then it just went up from there every year. As to what we made in the Happy Camper, we spent $1,500 on a fifth wheel, and we converted it to look like a retro 60s cabin. And we'll be able to show some pictures of that maybe somewhere, maybe in the comments, or
yeah.
We'll
just do it right here.
Yeah.
So
here's some pictures.
Here's a picture of it before.
Well, we put the picture of it before.
Not the, okay, we did. All right.
Here's some pictures of the inside of the Happy Camper after we got finished. The inside and outside. Here you go. Here's the pictures.
Okay. All right.
So we took the Happy Camper. We added an outdoor area where people had an outdoor kitchen, a lot of room to spread out. And the key thing about any Airbnb, any VRBO, is the marketing. And a lot of people think that you can just put clean linens in your bedroom and throw it up on Airbnb and make money. That is not actually the smartest thing to do. The smartest thing to do is to start a social media page and to get a website. Those are very cheap things to do, where you can begin to promote to your area and boost it to the people that want to come to your area. For example, we work with a lady out here in northwestern Oklahoma. Anybody that's been out here would know there's not a huge amount of things to do in this part of the country, but we built the idea of We build the venue and make people want to come to it. And that's what successful marketing will do, boosting it, great pictures, and also niching the market, having a themed Airbnb, which we're going to talk about in the next video.
So that's kind of like the movie Field of Dreams. Build it and they will come.
That's not always true, but yes, we've been able to do that, absolutely.
Huh. Well, that's pretty cool. So this almost started out like a side hustle for you, didn't it?
It was a complete side hustle. This is not what we do for a living. We never dreamed Airbnb, like I said, when we built the little cabin, wasn't even invented at that time. But then we learned about it and decided to give it a try. And my husband and I said, you know, we'll try it for 6 months. If we don't like it, we're going to stop it. But it was definitely a side hustle. We did all really good pictures. We started a social media page called Cabin on the Creek, which is the first one that we had. And we began to boost pictures into our target market, which was St. Louis, people from the city wanting to come to the Ozarks to get away. And we boosted it into that area, and we showed pictures of not a living room with a brown couch. We showed pictures of a porch overlooking a creek with a beverage, and we elicited an emotional response, which is what made it be successful. And from there we went to Happy Camper, from there we went to Cabin on the Creek, and from there we went to Big Purple, and on it went.
All right. So would you say that your side hustle almost did it, or did it not surpass your regular income from your other job?
It did not surpass our regular income. And here's what I would suggest to people. And I know a lot of people from the beginning want to hire someone to do everything, all parts of it, and that's what we did in the end. But in the first year, we did everything all ourselves, and the cleaning, the marketing, the maintenance, everything was done by Evan and I. Actually, I did all that in the first year, and in the second year, Evan did it all. So we had 2 years there of doing everything ourselves. By then, we had enough money coming in from those rentals that we did begin to hire people. And the awesome thing about how that all turned out is there was only one Airbnb in our area when we started. We added 2 more, then we added 3 more, and now in a little bitty tiny town in the Ozarks that is this big, there are over 20 vacation rentals. We hired a lady who, 2 ladies to clean.
Okay, we'll get to that one on the next video. But, all right, so I think we're running out of time on this part 1 right now. So we're going to stop this here. This first video is how to get started. That we kind of covered on how to get started, right?
We did.
All right. Well, this is Bud Light. God bless all of you. Go out there and crush it. Catch us up on the next video, part number 2.
And you can learn about how to do all of this on our website called visiontovisitor.com.
Yep, I will put her information down below on how to, everything that she does. She has several different businesses. So, all right, thank you, everybody.